Hi everyone, Petrik here. So for today's video, I'll be talking about all the books that I bought in the month of February, and also all the books that I acquired on that month. And as usual, this will contain a lot of books. And if you're not a fan of book haul video, I feel like I must give you a warning to not watch this video at all. This is for those viewers who love watching book haul videos, just like I am. And yeah, let's get started immediately. As usual, I will start by talking about the books that I bought first. And first, I got this manga, My Hero Academia Volume 40. This is the newest volume, the newest English volume of My Hero Academia. And this volume is amazing. If you have read this series and you have read this volume, then you know what I'm talking about. This features All Might and also Bakugo Shadows on the cover art. And yeah, this is a great volume. And I love this manga series, one of my favorite manga series of all time. And now let's talk about the beautiful high-end edition that I bought. This is one of the most expensive books that I ever bought. This is a Swan Song by Robert McCammon, the Suntup Press edition. Let me show you. Ta-da! This features a cover art and also interior illustrations by Ed Binkley. I think that's the name of the artist. Yeah, it is Ed Binkley. And yeah, this is written by Robert McCammon. And Swan Song is one of my favorite books of all time. It is one of my favorite standalone books, just like Boy's Life by Robert McCammon as well. And of course, when I saw that last year, Suntup Press released their edition of Boy's Life, I bought Boy's Life. And then they announced they're releasing their own Suntup Press edition of Swan Song as well. So of course, I have to get it. And it contains like about 10 interior illustrations by Ed Binkley, and I love it. I love this book. Look at that. So grotesque. And yeah, this is probably my favorite horror novels of all time. I think it's even better than The Stand. I know that it is often compared to The Stand, but in my opinion, this is better. And yeah, I love this Swan Song, and everything that I got from Suntup Press so far, they are expensive, but they're worth the purchase if it's your favorite title like Swan Song and also Boy's Life. And then I also bought a copy from Folio Society, Fire and Blood. And this is a stunning edition. As usual, their slipcase for their A Song of Ice and Fire. I think they are some of the most beautiful slipcase design that I have ever seen. Look at this. This is F and B, not food and beverage, but it is Fire and Blood. And now let's take this out. And as usual, inside there is illustration inside the slipcase as well. I don't think you can really see it here, but there is an interior illustrations inside the slipcase. And now let's talk about the book. This one, unlike the previous 5 books in A Song of Ice and Fire, the main titles, this time the illustrator is no longer Jonathan Burton. This time it is Audrey Benjaminson. And I think Audrey did an excellent job on this edition. Incredible, really. And this is the end paper. It features gold foils. And let's take a look at some of the interior illustrations, like this one. This is the 2-page interior illustrations by Audrey Benjaminson. And yeah, it is gorgeous. But there's one thing that I must warn you, even though this features plenty of interior illustrations, it is not as many as the interior illustrations in the standard edition of Fire and Blood. This is another interior illustrations. And of course, just like the other edition of A Song of Ice and Fire, this comes with many beautiful chapter headers illustrated by Audrey Benjaminson as well. And the design is similar to the previous design being done by Jonathan Burton. But if you're wondering whether this will feature all the interior illustrations in the standard edition of Fire and Blood, no. There is none of those interior artwork inside this edition. So I will have to leave it to you to decide whether this is all worth the purchase or not. Personally speaking, I already own every books in A Song of Ice and Fire, Folio Society edition, so of course I have to own this one. And yeah, I think this is a stunning edition. I don't know when I will be doing a second read of Fire and Blood. I know that I have mentioned that I wanted to do a second read of A Song of Ice and Fire, and I think that will happen sooner than I expected, because I want to read using this Folio Society edition. They are so stunning, and I want to experience reading the books using their edition. And yeah, those are pretty much the books that I bought that arrived in the month of February. But there is another absolutely gorgeous book that arrived last month. And this is definitely in my top 10 for the most beautiful special edition that I own. And I'm talking about Words of Radiance. the Dragonsteel leather-bound edition. And yeah, this features the color red as expected. And this is once again gifted to me by my friend Jen Ducky. And I cannot say thank you enough to Jen. Without her, I don't think I will own any of the Stormlight Archive leather-bound edition because they are outside of my price range. But let me take this out first. But before I talk about the book, there is one difference in the slipcase. The material used here, I think this features a velvet material. So this is different compared to the Way of Kings leather-bound edition. This feels more luxurious and better. But now, let's talk about the books. Let's talk about volume 1 first. Ta-da! Again, similar design, matching design to the Way of Kings. This is the spine. This is the back cover. The ancient oaths have at last been spoken. And Words of Radiance is my favorite books in the Stormlight Archive. And this features the front and paper by Michael Whelan. And of course, it begins with tons of new illustrations, new and old illustrations, such as this one. And then we have, this is by Junko. I think this is originally commissioned for, new and originally commissioned specifically for Words of Radiance. I haven't seen this artwork anywhere else, even though Django has done a lot of Chinese illustration, Chinese cover art edition for Brandon Sanderson. And this is another one. This is by, I believe this one is done by Katie Payne, and this is done by Dominic Broniak. And yeah, of course, this is the UK cover art by Sam Green, and this is signed by Brandon Sanderson. And yeah, because I have managed to actually brought my copy to Dragonsteel Nexus last year, I finally managed to get all of my leather-bound copy signed by Brandon Sanderson. And yeah, previously only my Way of Kings wasn't signed by Brandon Sanderson, and now it's signed. And yeah, I'm going to show you some interior artwork inside this book, like this one. This is of Shalan Davar by Magali Villeneuve. And yeah, look at that. It's so gorgeous. I love this illustration. Magali is one of the best character artists in my opinion. And this is the example of the chapter headers. In the Way of Kings, we have the blue color. And this time, of course, we have the red color. In Oathbringer, I think we will have yellow. And yeah, this is another illustrations, interior illustrations of the iconic boot scene. This is, I think, done by Mary Sierberger. And then let's take a look at one more before we take a look at volume 2. Oh, this is a bit of a spoiler, so I'm gonna skip this one. This is it. This is Kaladin and Syl. So yeah, beautiful, beautiful edition, but somehow the second volume is even more gorgeous. It seems like Sanderson and his team and his Dragonsteel team leave the best in all of them in the second volume. And then this is the back cover. The Knights Radiant must stand again. Epic line, seriously. And yeah, this is the back and paper. This is by Howard Lyon of Hoyt or With. And then this is the front and paper by Howard Lyon as well. And then let's take a look at some of the interior illustrations, like this one. This is by, of course, Mary Sierberger, this one. And then let's take a look at more. This is by Ari Ibarra, and this is a beautiful scene of Kaladin and Shallan in the chasm. That felt like a long time ago. This is a bit of a spoiler, so I'm gonna skip that. So yeah, overall, I'm really, really happy. This one took longer than I expected to arrive, but I'm super pleased with this edition. This is, again, by Petar Penev. A scene of Wit and also Shallan. I'm super, super in love with this illustration. I did not expect Petar, he usually do a lot of illustrations for the Stormlight Archive, but they're more action-oriented. And this one is just different from his usual style. And wow, look at that. It's amazing. The color is so vivid. The composition is striking. And yeah, I love it very much. And I hope I can work with Petar on something someday. I have to talk about it with him, obviously. But before I close this edition and we move on to the next one, I want to show something. This is one of my favorite illustrations of all time, and it is done by Micah Epstein. Look at that. Again, it is of Kaladin and Shallan in the chasm. I think that's one of the most memorable scenes in the entire Stormlight Archive. Not only that, of course, but to talk about what happened in the climax scene, well, that's, I think, even though it has been years, is still a spoiler to those who haven't read the book yet. But yeah, I absolutely love this edition. As I said, I think this belongs in my top 10 special editions of all time. And thank you so much to Dragonsteel for creating such a beautiful edition again. And thank you so much to Jendaki for getting me this gift. And on top of getting the Words of Radiance and the Bond edition, I also got the Dragonsteel Prime, part of Sanderson Curiosity. So this is what I think is supposed to be originally Dragonsteel, but it will be changed completely later, just like the Way of Kings Prime. Basically, Way of Kings before it became the Way of Kings, and this is Dragonsteel before it became Dragonsteel. I don't know how many years from now. But I haven't read this one yet. I don't know if you have read it. If you have read it, do let me know what you think about it. Again, because this is not canon, I don't know when I will get around to this one. I just consider this as a part of my collection now. And yeah, this is the gift that I got in the month of February. And moving on to the self-published fantasy portion, I got 2 books in the month of February. And this is for The Storm Beneath the Glass by Robert Wyatt and Todd Larson. This one features a cover art by Jeff Brown, and this is a thick boy. I think it's about 900 pages long. Yeah, it's 835 pages long. So it is a thick epic fantasy novel. No idea what this book is about at all. I know that prophecy is a huge part of this series, but beyond that, I'm not sure what it is about. But the authors really want me to own this, I don't know, maybe one day I can get around to it. They said, take my time. And I don't know, maybe one day my reading mood strikes and I will pick this up. That's always how I approach books now anyway. But moving on to the next one. This is for The Way of Eden, the Broken Binding Press edition. I got to work on this edition together with Philip Chase and Renee Eichner, the cover artist and the colored interior artist, and also Peng Lu. Peng Lu is doing the black and white interior art. And then this is a wraparound cover art. Beautiful edition, I think, and this features the gilded edges. I'm really happy with how this one turns out, and this features the end paper is being done by Jack from A Tall Shepherd. And yeah, this is the board. Features a raven or a day raven, which is the main character of The Way of Eden, and then features a quote from the book. But let's take a look at 1 or 2 of the interior illustrations, and then we move on to the next book. This is the black and white art. This is done by Peng Lu. And let's take a look at one of the interior artwork. This one. Ta-da! By Renee Eichner. It's beautiful, right? I'm really happy with how this one turns out. And yeah, we will be working on the Prophet of Eden probably this year. I predict it will happen within this year. So yeah, not long from now. No idea when the second book will come out though. We will see how that one goes. But yeah, looking forward to working on this one with Philip. And yeah, I think there are still some last copies of The Way of Eden, Broken Binding Precedence edition. So if you don't want to miss out on the last copies I don't think it will be restocked again. So make sure to get that before it runs out. But these are the 2 self-published fantasy books that I got in the month of February. Now let's move on to the final portion, and it is to talk about the traditionally published books that I got. The first 4 books that I got last month, I think you know what books these are, and this is for the new paperback edition of the Dandelion Dynasty by Ken Liu. The Grace of Kings, The Wall of Storms, and then, of course, The Veiled Throne and Speaking Boons. So yeah, this is one of my top epic fantasy series of all time. Truly a standout in my opinion, and I think it is a masterpiece. And I'm so happy that my review is featured on the back of Speaking Boons paperback edition. But this features a new cover art by Rovina Kai, and I have featured how the spine look as well over here. So yeah, this is a beautiful edition. If you haven't read the Dandelion Dynasty yet and you want a more floppy edition like this one, and also of course more affordable, then you cannot go wrong with reading this new edition of the Dandelion Dynasty. As far as quality goes, as I said, I think it is truly a standout in the genre. Absolutely amazing characters, philosophy, writing, everything is at the top level. Ken Liu is a master storyteller, in my opinion, and I cannot wait to read the newest book by him this year. Even though it is not an epic fantasy, I'm still very excited about that, all that we see or sim. But moving on to the next one. The next 4 books are all from Orbit Books. But to be more precise, these are 2 books. But I got the advanced reading copy and also the finished hardcover copy. So this is Grave Empire arc, and this is the finished copy of Grave Empire by Richard Swan. I haven't read this book yet, but I think based on my experience with reading Empire of the Wolf trilogy, I think there is a really good chance I will love this one, because Empire of the Wolf trilogy was awesome, especially the first two books, The Justice of Kings and also The Tyranny of Fate. So yeah, really pumped about this Grave Empire book. And so far, I think this first book of the Great Silence series, I think it is a flintlock epic fantasy that taking place many years after the events of the Trials of Empire. I think the reception so far, I've seen only positive things. So yeah, looking forward to reading this one as soon as I can. And then the next one is Ambessa by C.L. Clark. So this is a part of the League of Legends. Again, this is the advanced reading copy. This is the finished copy. And I really enjoyed reading Ruination by Anthony Reynolds. That was, I think, the first big novel, I guess. The first novel taking place in the League of Legends universe, and I really enjoyed that one, surprisingly. So I hope Ambessa, which is a very important character in Arcane, well, I hope this one will be even better compared to Ruination. And this, of course, just like Ruination, it has some interior artwork as well. And this features, I think, this end paper and also reversible dust jacket. So yeah, that's Ambessa. And let me show you some of the interior illustration inside this book. I believe it is at the back. Yeah. Ta-da! And also another one. Oh, this one is so badass. I think all the interior artwork, they are done by Kudos Production, which is a production that is in charge of a lot of interior artwork for Arcane and League of Legends. And then after that, I got a copy of A Song of Legends Lost by M.H. Ayinde, and this is the advanced reading copy. I want to show you the edges. Here, this features a gradient of color of red to yellow. And I'm almost done with reading this book. This is very Final Fantasy inspired, but I don't think many of you can deny that this also feels like Naruto sometimes. And yeah, I mean, this, without going into too much spoiler here, this looks like Kurama from Naruto, okay? But I believe the author hasn't actually read or watched Naruto yet. But this book, it is great. And this is one of my most anticipated debut of this year. I have three. I believe I have three most anticipated debuts of this year, and this is one of them. And the second one is another one that I haven't read yet. This is for Anji Kills a King by Evan Lakem. Some of you might know Evan Lakem for his bookish account on Bookstagram and also on BookTok, Book Review Kill. And this is his debut novel. It has received a lot of amazing reception from authors such as Glenn Cook, Nicholas Eames, and plenty other authors. And yeah, I want to read this one. I heard that this one has been pitched to those of us who love reading The Black Tongue Thief and also Joe Abercrombie's style of writing. So I don't know whether that's true or not. I still have to find out, but hopefully it is true, because I love The Black Tongue Thief, and of course Joe Abercrombie is one of my favorite authors of all time. But now let's move on to the special edition portion. For the first one, we have the Poppy War Illustrated Edition. This is the trade new illustrated edition, not the one published by Litjoy Crate. And this features the cover art and interior artwork by Jung-Shan Ing, the original cover artist of the Poppy War trilogy. And this time she returned again to be the cover artist of this book. And this book, it features a lot of interior artwork by Jung-Shan Ing. Not only the color piece in the end papers, but also many black and white art. I think in total it's about 20, I think. And this is just one of them. I'm not going to show all of them in today's video, but this is one of them, the 2-page one. I'm going to show just one more, and it is the 1-page art. Let me show you something here. Yeah. Ta-da! So yeah, I think I will be getting a copy of the Dragon Republic, the illustrated edition as well. And I don't know how this one will match against the Litjoy Crate edition, but so far from what I've seen, I think Litjoy Crate edition, which is sold out now, it is probably the best edition of the Poppy War trilogy out there. And then before we talk about all the Broken Binding books that I got 2 books from the Conversation 3 Press, and these are a part of their short stops books, and they are The Paper Menagerie by Ken Liu, the best short story that I have ever read, hands down. I haven't read any short story better than The Paper Menagerie, and they made this letterpress edition in this short format. And this features one artwork on the front, and then that's it. Inside is the 15 pages of the dandelion, of the paper menagerie. Sorry about that. And the same goes for There Will Come Soft Rains by Ray Bradbury. And then this again. Let me show you the frontispiece. This is a tipped-in frontispiece illustrated by Guillaume Pongilupi. Ta-da! And I have read this one. I don't think it's truly my cup of tea, but I think, yeah, this edition, it looked pretty, even though they're expensive though, but they're always sold out in super fast. I'm actually quite impressed by how fast these two books sold out. And yeah, now let's talk about the last section of today's video. These are for the Broken Binding books, and if you are not interested in that, that's all the books that I got in the month of February. But if you are interested in the Broken Binding books that I got, and these are all books that I worked on, somehow they just came, all of them just decided to arrive in the month of February. Well, I'm going to talk about them a bit, not too long, because I think many of you know these editions already from my SFF Spotlight. But let's talk a bit about them. The first one is the first project I ever worked on for the Broken Binding. It is Malazan, Book of the Fallen by Steven Erikson. This is the first three books, Gardens of the Moon, Death House Gates, and also Memories of Ice. So yeah, this one features cover art by Felix Ortiz, and paper by Randy Vargas, and the first art I ever worked on together with Jeff Brown. Ta-da! This is of Darujistan. Yeah, the city of blue fire. And then we have Death House Gates. Ta-da! Spine, back cover, and also again front and paper by Randy Vargas, back and paper by Jeff Brown again. And yeah, this one thing, out of all these three books though, my favorite is Memories of Ice, not only in quality but also in cover art. I just love this scene so much. I think it's high time that this character is featured on the front cover, and that this is the spine, the back cover, one of the most iconic quotes in the entire series. And the front end paper is done by Rene Eichner, and the back end paper, it is again done by Jeff Brown. So yeah, love how this one turns out, but not gonna lie, this actually turns out much darker than I expected. Oh, before I forget, this actually have two interior illustrations by Darko. Again, more darker than I expected, really. But if you have read this book, you have read the series, you know who these characters are. I think they turn out great though, the illustrations. But yeah, and then of course this comes with edges by Rene Eichner. We are in the middle of working on book 4 until book 6 now, and we are quite close to completion, and hopefully many of you will like the result. Personally, from my side, I have learned a lot of things since I worked on Malazan, Book of the Fallen, and somehow I have worked on so many projects for the Broken Bindings, such as this one, Death's End, yeah, by Qixin Liu, translated by Ken Liu. Again, this one features cover art and edges by Jeff Brown. This is the spine, the back cover, time is the cruelest force of all. And this is illustrated by Peng Lu, the front end paper. I'm not gonna tell you who that is. And this is done by Ricky Ho. So yeah, I think the Three Body Problem, Dark Forest, and Death's End, all of them turns out really beautiful. I'm happy with how that one turns out, just like this one, The Mask of Mirrors by M.A. Carrick. This features cover art by Patricia Gutierrez. And then spine, back cover, Fortune favors the bold, magic favors the liars. I like this book. I wouldn't call it a favorite, but I think as far as edition goes, look at this gold foil and emboss really pop. And I love how this one, I love the finished copy of this. This ends up looking more beautiful than I expected. The front end paper is done by Irina Nordsol Kuzmina. And finally, the back end paper, it is done by Huang Lop. This is of Rook. And yeah, the foil, it is done by Rachel St. Clair. And finally, we have, I believe this is the last one. And yeah, this is the final one. this is the final book in today's book haul video, and it is of Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wang. When I got this project, I instantly approached Dunlin Zhang because I already had this visualization that I wanted to achieve in the front cover and also in the entire wraparound cover art, and Dunlin Zhang just goes and excels all of them. Look at that. This is such an incredible cover art in my opinion. Dunlin Zhang is a master artist. She's so good. So good. And yeah, I love how this one turns out. I keep on saying that. But again, I must be proud, of course, of the things that I worked on together with the artist. It's like an author being proud of their own work. And this is the front end paper by Rafael Pina. And then on the back, we have the back end paper being done by Peng Lu. And yeah, some black and white interior artwork by Peng Lu as well. And yes, some of you have mentioned, have requested for us to do the Sword of Kaigen, and I can only say fingers crossed that will happen someday. Believe me, I wanted to. The Sword of Kaigen is one of my top favorite books of all time. But yeah, this is Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wang. And if you're missing out on this edition, Raidmark is publishing their own edition of Blood Over Brighthaven, and that one will contain a lot of interior illustrations. So yeah, make sure to check that one out. The book will come out, I think, in April. The Kickstarter campaign will start going live in the month of April, early April, sorry about that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all the books that I got in the month of February. That's a lot of books as always, but do tell me which one of these were your favorite? Which one of these books that I showcased were your favorite, and how many books did you get in the month of February? As always, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your support. Bye-bye. Lastly, I want to say thank you so much once again to all my patrons who keep on supporting me.